New music, new music, new music, new music, new music. That's right. There's new, brand new ZamboniFunk music coming your way pretty soon. Pretty soon. We are looking at that coming out this weekend. Now, I would love to tell you what day it is specifically, but I don't know exactly. Here's what I do know. I know what time I'm going to upload it to the distributor, and then they will distribute it as they see fit. They'll see it'll happen when it happens after that. So, as you know, I care very deeply about timing and like the date, the date, time, and place that a thing happens is like a big deal to me. That's the whole craft of astrology, right? And so I would love to predict the release date and time and all that, but because I care so deeply about electional astrology, then what I'm going to do is rather than trying to predict the date, I'm going to predict the moment that I will press the upload button on it. And so that's like the sort of like act that makes that sets the whole thing into motion. And so I'm going to elect for that moment. So for those of you who care about, so I do an electional report every month, and I make a list of dates and times that are like good for launching things, and then dates and times to dodge and avoid as well. And so I just want to walk through one of the elections that I made for the month, and so I this one that I'm gonna release the new record on. You're not ready for this record. Let me tell you that it's a departure. It's a departure while at the same time being very core to like who I am and what I do. But it's gonna come out at a certain time, and I just wanted to talk about electional astrology and how I decided to do the thing this time. So we're gonna look at it. We're just gonna take a little look here and get an idea for what is going on electionally at that moment. So strap in. Here we go. So this date is set for tomorrow. I'll be pressing the button tomorrow, and so this is we've got the sun in Libra here, and we've got this Mercury Cazimi happening, and we've got the moon in Capricorn rising. Now, typically you would not elect for the moon in Capricorn. The moon doesn't particularly like being in Capricorn. You can see that the moon's domicile is Cancer, and that's on the opposite side. So this is a condition that's called detriment or exile. And so this is the moon as far away from home as possible. This is a moon that can be a little bit sort of grumpy about things, or like don't look. The moon typically likes to nourish and to make things safe and secure and this kind of thing. Whereas Capricorn as a space typically is like a little bit more rugged. The terrain is a little bit more difficult. We're thinking about like sheer mountain cliffs and this kind of thing. And so the moon typically doesn't like this position. So I don't often go for a moon in Capricorn, especially moon in Capricorn on the rising. The rising, that's the thing that's coming up. It's literally rising. It's the ascending thing. It's the thing on the eastern horizon, right? And so that is the thing that is emerging out into the world at the same time that whatever is emerging out into the world is happening at the same time. So this is the like U area of the chart, or in this case, we're looking at the record is going to be sort of born in this moment, right? And so so the eastern horizon is the most focal point of the chart, and so I typically would not put a planet in detriment on the rising this way. However, this one in particular, now what I would have loved to do is, so the moon here is in Capricorn and is applying to a trine with Venus in Virgo, and then also applying to a trine with Jupiter in Taurus. Now, what I would have loved to do is get the moon in between those. So if we could have gotten the moon, so you can see here that the moon is at 9 degrees of Capricorn, Venus is at 10 of Virgo, and Jupiter is at 12 Taurus. So what I would have loved to do is put the moon in Capricorn at 11 degrees of Capricorn. So that would have been in between this Venus and Jupiter. That's your prime situation. You want the moon in between benefics for like everything. So, but that wasn't possible this time in my location. If I wanted to get like the houses in the places that I want them, you can notice here that the midheaven is right here with Mars, and Mars is very comfortable here in Scorpio, and also applying to an opposition with Jupiter. So Mars is not only the ruler of the midheaven. The midheaven is the middle of the heavens. It's the thing that is sort of culminating. It's often associated with career or reputation or something like this. And so, since this is a public release of a piece of music that I'm very proud of and that I want to get out into the world for people to hear, the MC is a pretty important point here. And so we can see that Mars is coming to that culmination point in 3 degrees. Mars will be at the very top of the sky at that moment in this location where I am. So that is, and so Mars is super comfortable. Also, I personally have Mars on the midheaven, and so this is like a personally resonant election. So I liked to see that, as well as the moon making this trine. You can remember that a trine, meaning 3, it's like it's like a tripod. It's very supportive. It's very like sturdy and grounded, especially grand trine, where we've got all 3 of them. We've got all 3 of the earth signs represented, especially earth signs. That's like super sturdy, and like it's a strong kind of moment here, especially since we can see that we've got this Mars on the midheaven as well. Now, also fairly close to the midheaven here, we've got this Mercury cazimi. So Mercury cazimi is often, like I always talk about, like it's a special message from the king or something like this, right? Like there's something wordy that's really good here. There's something like the it's possible to say the thing in a really strong way. And I think that the lyrics on this record are like more important than maybe some of the lyrics on some of the other records that I've made so far. There's a lot of words on this record, and so so I feel like this is a pretty good situation. We can also notice that this Mercury cazimi is right here on the south node, which is interesting because one of the lyrics on the record, it refers to being like coming out of the dragon's lair. And you will recall that eclipses are associated with nodes and that they are associated with dragons. And not only that, but I mentioned the dragon's tail in one of the lyrics. And here we are with this Mercury cazimi on the south node here, which is associated with the tail of the dragon. When I wrote this line, I did not expect that this was going to come out during eclipse season. And honestly, I wouldn't really recommend doing something major in eclipse season if it were not for a grand trine to benefics. And like Mars on the midheaven here looks really cute. I really like that. I also can notice here that Saturn in Pisces, who is the ruler of the rising, is pretty comfortable, all things considered, is under a nice trine from this Mars here. Mars in Scorpio supporting this Saturn, but then also Saturn is making a trine to the midheaven degree here. So this looks like it can help a lot. It looks like this Saturn, who is ruling the rising and therefore an extremely important planet, is like in a position to make something strong or productive or effective happen, especially in the midheaven space, in the career, reputation, what you do out in the world space. And so I saw this election, and we also have been working on this record for a while. So I said at the beginning of 2023 that this was going to be the year of finishing tunes. And in 2023, Breathe came out in February. So that's a breath exercise that I'm super proud of. The artwork is super magnificent and beautiful. And there's an animated video to go with that. I'm super proud of. Thank You has come out. We made a video with a whole live record. So and then now there's this one that's going to come out too. This is 3 songs here as well. And so I was just ready. We had been working on it for a really long time, and I was just ready to do it, ready to get the thing out here, and then saw that there was like a bunch of black sky coming up, and like dealing with the eclipses and all this. The record's been done for like a month now. And so I've been just like looking for a time to release it proper. And this was the one thing that I like about this election is that it's, we've got this like grand trine to benefics, when it comes to the moon, right? But the moon already is a little bit uncomfortable, and then the benefics that we've got here is like Venus in Virgo. Okay, like Venus in Virgo is like, can be a little, it's not Venus's favorite place to be, right? There's something here that like can get a little, the Venus in Virgo can get kind of negative Nancy sometimes, can like sort of like talk about what's wrong all the time and this kind of thing. And so and then also to see Mars on the midheaven, and to see Saturn not only ruling the rising but also making a trine to the midheaven. So that those are the malefics, right? And they're very strong and prominent in this election. And so one of the things that I really liked about this election is that it's scrappy. It's just like this election isn't taking your shit, and it's not a super like dignified election. Like the strongest dignity that we have here is Mars in Scorpio on the midheaven, and so that's pretty malefic, and it's in a day chart and this and all of this. And then like no one else is in very good dignity. The sun is in fall, Venus is in fall, the moon is in exile. Like nobody's really that comfortable except this Mars here. But and that's kind of how I feel about this record. Also, this is my first record in this genre, in this style, and like I'm trying something new here, and I'm sort of coming out the gate. Also, one of the things that I really care deeply about when it comes to funk is that it's important to remember that funk used to be a bad word, right? So now when you think about funk, you think about like Lettuce or Cory Wong or something like this, where it's like the sort of concept of how to make this music, it sort of it's sort of the same way that like jazz got into the schools and stopped being like this art form that was like considered slummy or something like this, right? It started being considered academic. Funk has gone through that same situation, and so now we're at a point where like to make straight ahead funk music is like kind of normal, you know what I mean? And so there's something about funk that like funk in its essence comes from the edges, comes from the outside. There's something about like landing in a spaceship. Like it comes from the exterior. It's alien in some kind of way, and might be a little bit funky. Like it smells bad. It's weird. It lives in the fringes in some kind of way. And I feel like not only does Mars in Scorpio, one of my favorite Scorpio images is the swamp, where it's like kind of funky and like there's deep life and resonance in that space, but it's like also kind of gross. And so I like that sort of situation to go with this record. I think that this record it fits this chart beautifully, and I can't wait for you to hear it. So thanks so much for listening to this record. I can't wait. I can't wait. Can't wait. Woo! I can't wait. I can't wait. I can't wait. No, I can't wait. Woo!